Alright, so today I'm going to show you how to factor trinomials. So first of all, trinomial is just an expression that has three terms. Thus, the tri means three. Okay? So we are going to, I was just going to say we're going to factor this into factors. That would be a stupid statement. But we're going to set up our factors with two sets of parentheses. And we break up our x squared using an x and an x. Okay? Now, the method, or what we're doing here to factor, is we're looking for two numbers to fill in these parentheses. I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to 14 and add to 9. There are lots of different methods that are taught to factor. If you know, as we're going through this, if you remember one of those methods that you learned in a different class and you like that better than my method, by all means, use that method. I will not be offended. What I do is I make a T-chart. Right? Looks like a T. So I want two numbers that multiply to 14 and they add to 9. Okay? Now what I start doing is I start listing my factors of 14. And I start at the very bottom. I always start with 1 and the number itself. It's easy to miss this set of factors, so the T-chart, kind of helps you remember it. Now when I add these together, 1 plus 14 equals 15. Not my factors. Then I go up to 2. 14 divided by 2 is 7. 2 plus 7 is 9. It's a match. We've got a match. So x plus 2, x plus 7 are my factors. Okay? Now, this example, it's kind of easy. Like maybe as soon as I said what you needed to do, you just came up with the numbers like that. And maybe you don't need to use the T-chart. That's also fine, but this can just be helpful when you get numbers that are a lot bigger, have a lot more factors, or maybe when your signs aren't plus plus. Just a method that can help. So I like to go over it. And I didn't mention the signs, but we did have a plus and a plus, so our factors would both be plus and plus. Okay? Let's go to the next one. So now I've got x squared minus 11x plus 28. I'm going to make my parentheses. Got my x and my x. Now I want two numbers that multiply to a positive 28 but add to a negative 11. Well, if I'm going to get two numbers that multiply to give me a positive, there's two possibilities. Either they're both positive numbers, which happened up here, or they're both negative, right? A negative times a negative is a positive. So then I look at this sign, which is negative. It tells me I'm going to have an x minus and an x minus. Okay? I've set all of that up without even thinking about my 11 and 28. Okay? Now again, let's make our T-chart. And, maybe you already got the numbers in your head. That's fine. I'm still going to go over this because it's good practice. Now, when I fill in my factors, I'm just going to make them negative because I already know they're going to be negative. So negative 1 and negative 28. When I combine these, I get negative 29. Not what I'm looking for. I go to 2. Negative 2. 28 divided by 2 is 14. When I combine these, I get negative 16. Not what I'm looking for. Then I go to 3. Well, 28 divided by 3 is a decimal, so I'm skipping 3. I go to 4. 28 divided by 4 is negative 7. When I combine these, I get negative 11, which is what I'm looking for. Minus 7 and minus 4. Those are our answers. Okay? So it can really be helpful for you if you can figure out what your signs are going to be beforehand, right? Let's make our parentheses. For example, 3, we've got an x and an x. Okay, in this example, our numbers are multiplying to a negative 20. So that means, for that to happen, I'm going to have an x plus, I'm going to have an x minus. Regardless of whether this is a plus or a minus, when this is a minus, I get a plus and a minus for my factors. Now, if my two numbers combine and leave me with a negative answer, that just means my bigger number is going to be negative. So when I'm filling in my T-chart, they're going to multiply to negative 20, add to negative 1. So I've got 1 and negative 20. That gives me a negative 19, not what I'm looking for. I've got a 2 and a negative 10. This gives me a negative 8. Not what I'm looking for. I go to 3. Well, 20 divided by 3 is a decimal. I go to 4 and a negative 5. Gives me a negative 1. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Plug it in. So when I said the bigger number is going to be negative, I just filled it in right away. I filled in my factor, my bigger numbers as negative, so when I combined, there we go, we got negative 1. Hope that makes sense. Thanks for watching.